Dead Candy. Dedicated entertainment for the dead.
Spoiler alert, Slash's Paradise encourages viewers to watch these horror films before listening to our show. Danny and Lance will go through everything, including filmmaking, dialogue, characters, and even full scene breakdowns when we get excited. Enjoy the show.
Trick or treat, smell my feet. I'll get the rest in here eventually. Oh, you're going to light you lit the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, it's tradition.
Right. Make sure it doesn't go out until the night's over.
Absolutely.
I love Halloween traditions, and none more than the classic jack-o'-lantern lighting the way. It's lovely.
Welcome back to Slash's Paradise.
It feels natural. It feels good. It feels like I'm going to try not to get... I tried not to get emotional coming into the Slashers Paradise for a video recording, Lance, because that is how it all started. Where it all began.
Are you getting emotional right now?
No, I was just doing Donald Pleasance from Halloween 5.
Okay. It's the Halloween season. Here it is.
Yeah.
All the Halloween references. What better movie for us to review and talk about and love than Trick or Treat?
Trick or treat. Trick or treat.
Trick or
Trick
treat.
or treat.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
It's a trick or it's a treat.
We're talking about the 2007 horror/thriller by Michael Dougherty, Trick or Treat.
Yes, we are. And
what an amazing
how
time.
else do you kick off the holiday season, right? Like,
look, for the longest time, Lance, I do believe Michael Myers had been probably the poster mascot for Halloween.
Yes.
The season to be jolly.
Okay.
Fa la 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 la, you're dead. Right? But
all right.
Since 2007 and since the now cult classic that is Trick or Treat began or was released, I believe Sam has now turned into that official mascot of the Halloween season.
Yes, and he's kind of embraced himself as like the little brother to Michael, or like
Yeah.
the little like nephew.
That's fun, man.
Nephew, niece. Anyway,
You better not be related because then he's gonna kill him.
oh, we're right in stride already.
Yeah.
No, I actually believe that this is on par with Halloween all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
this is one that I have to watch. It is I mean, we're going to give a rating later, but it doesn't really matter because I'll tell you right now, it's a fucking masterpiece of a horror film and captures Halloween, and especially with the nostalgia and the way that we all celebrate Halloween now. This is the movie that you watch.
Yes. It's definitely has a yearly presence as far as my watch is concerned. Whether I'm watching it, around Halloween, close to Halloween, whether it's part of my countdown, it honestly doesn't matter because, okay, there are a lot of things in horror movies that I really don't like.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be liked if you're a horror fan.
Okay.
One of the things is like overly gross things.
Yeah.
Like vomit and, entrails spilling out. Probably like a lot of like, okay, I never got into Human Centipede and hope we never talk about it because I hate that shit. No pun intended. But to tell you the truth, it's like there are aspects of this movie that are kind of gross and I give it a pass. Yeah. Because of how well done it is.
Yeah, it's a very subtle tone to it. And you said the main word of this film, which is cult. There's a cult following to this because of the way it was released, how it was released. And we're going to get into all that. But there's always some housekeeping to take care of here in Slashers Paradise. Danny, We have a game here.
We do have a game here.
It's called Slash Word.
It is called Slash Word.
How does Slash Word work?
Slash Word, folks, slashers who are listening, thank you all so much for tuning in. Slash Word is the Slashers Paradise version of the popular game Password, where when you hear the slash word said throughout the episode or the podcast, please take a drink. And Lance and I have already started with our alcoholic beverage of choice, which is blended Canadian Crown, as we take a sip. And you may do that when you hear the slash word said. Does not have to be alcoholic. We just ask folks that you play along and have fun.
So the fun thing about Slash Word is that we always have a guest caller calling in to let you, the viewers, and the listeners know what the slash word is. We have no idea what they're saying. You're getting a direct line to them. And the special guest is usually from the horror movie world, or at least the cinematic universe of every Hollywood movie. So, Danny, who is calling in today with our slash word of the night?
You know, it has taken some effort on my part to be able to get this person to call into the Slashers Paradise.
I bet.
But we're out there now, folks. The word is being spread about how wonderful the Slashers Paradise is. Folks have even said that when they are listening to these podcasts or watching these episodes, that for some weird reason, pumpkin smell just starts like coming through their walls and such. It's just what I heard.
Okay.
Just what I heard.
That's what he heard.
But because it is getting such a buzz, it is finally time that we get one of the, if we're talking about mascots of the horror community, it is time we get this person, this entity, this ghost with the most to finally call in to the Slashers Paradise. I am not talking about Raul El Ghul. I am talking about Beetlejuice.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Beetlejuice. The star
Beetlejuice
himself.
Yes, Beetlejuice, the ghost with the most, is here to call in for the...
We've already gone over the 3 call limit, so I guess he's here. Beetlejuice is on the line. Lord save us. Beetlejuice, what is the slash word of the night?
Hey, Juice here. I'm bringing you the slash word for these little dopes here in the Slashers Paradise. The slash word is pumpkin. All right, I'm gonna see you guys on the other side. So remember, say it once, say it twice, third time's a charm. And I'm out. Got a GQ shooting about an hour and a half.
All right, thank you very much.
Wow, there was some like ghost happenings already happening.
Absolutely.
It's almost like we should get 3 guys who know how to deal with ghosts and do a whole show about it to help us out.
Like Ghost Show?
Yeah, that'd be probably a great name for it.
Ghost Show would be a great
Ghost
name
Show.
for it.
Ghost Show.
All right, we have other housekeeping. Danny, for Trick or Treat, I'm excited about this.
Are you?
I just got really giddy. You can probably hear it in my voice. What is the pumpkin spice latte? Remember, the pumpkin spice latte is like the basic... excuse my language, but white girl breakdown of
oh my god
of a horror film. That's why we call it the PSL, the pumpkin spice latte. Danny, what is the pumpkin spice latte of Trick or Treat?
All right, Trick or Treat's pumpkin spice latte for Slashers Paradise by Danny Gonzalez, and it is as thus. 5 interwoven stories taking place over one Halloween night, involving many traditions being either broken or kept. You have ghost stories, vampires, werewolves, all interwoven together so that they can culminate in one synonymous happening, which is a Halloween night of festivities, murder, mayhem, blood, guts, and candy, and all that jazz. And how is it going to end? Is everyone going to survive? Is no one going to survive? Well, please enjoy what is Trick or Treat.
Beautifully done.
Thank you.
The breakdown for this film, a lot of technicalities here. Released December 9th, 2007.
Get out of town.
But that was at the Putnam, Putnam, what was it? I don't know.
Putnam?
It was called Putnam Horrorthon or Putnam.
Oh, okay. This is the name.
This is a film festival.
I got it. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So it actually premiered at several film festivals for 2 years strong before getting a release. And it was not a theatrical release.
Wow.
It was a DVD release.
That's right.
On October 6th, 2009. And it was straight to DVD. So no theatrical release. So I can't really give you a box office number because there is none.
But you might be able to very soon.
Very soon,
Oh.
yes. The movie is in its 15th year anniversary, so October 6th. The movie will be hitting theaters for the first time, finally,
Nice.
because it is well deserved.
Well
The budget was $12 million, written and directed by Michael Dougherty, starring Anna Paquin, Dylan Baker, Brian Cox, Leslie Bibb, and Rochelle Aydis.
I say that.
Aydis?
Michelle
Itis?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Aytes. So I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but
AYTES.
'cause I know you're listening.
That's how we spell Atis. Let's get Atis.
So that is our basic breakdown for Trick or Treat. Housekeeping is done.
Mm-hmm.
We can get into our breakdown of this wonderful movie, and I think we should start right at the beginning.
I think we should too. I also do need to preface everyone to let you all know I do this in a lot of my episodes with Lance here at the Slashers Paradise, where we kind of just. I think it's always nice to let the viewers know what's going to happen as far as like what side I'm going to take or whatever. That way they're either enjoying the ride or they're like, Danny, no, come back. This movie's actually good. I'm actually going to say for Trick or Treat, I hate this movie.
I just choked on my whiskey. Because how fucking dare you even say that on this show? I might even edit it out.
There's no way that is true, folks. I love this movie. Remember how I was saying like a lot for our Fridays, our Friday.
Hey, you held up.
Yeah.
You hit the Roadrunner brakes on that.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
I do love this movie. And it's actually for
too.
a lot of different reasons than many folks who do like this movie or love this movie even would say. And we'll get into the intricacies of that. I've always told Lance, about some of the movies that are synonymous just with mine, like Halloween, October into September sort of viewing that goes into the spooky season or season, if you're a
yeah. Is that a new thing? The
Yeah.
SZN thing? Is everyone's doing that now?
We got characters, right? We got characters in our posts, and we're like, if we can just abbreviate season into season, it's I guess like adding Z to clowns. It makes it scarier. But to be honest, it's like the point is like. And we're going to definitely talk about it if we haven't put out this list already. But like when I tell folks what are my I have to watch these, a lot.
Just spreading it out. You got so many.
I'm it's nice. A lot of things are coming back now that we're back on video.
Yeah,
so if you're listening audioly, congratulations. I do believe that you should then go to video because it's a lot more telling of what we're intending perhaps. But the point of all this is to say there is, and this is the first time you're probably going to hear it, but it's not going to be the last time. Transylvania 65000 is one of my favorite movies of all time for the Halloween season, and it's just not popular. It's very much niche. Okay, the reason I do like Trick or Treat are for small things that just happen in the movie that I'll always remember, i.e., the noises that Sam makes.
Oh yeah, okay.
I just love that shit. I love it. It's
the innocent child noises, or is it the bag of squealing God knows what?
It's a little bit of both. I think if we're starting in the beginning, the first time you hear what is eventually going to be Sam, who is displayed here for all of you all to see, and if it's coming out in the shot, we do have a wonderful vinyl here that is being displayed from Waxwork Records, who I have definitely got the bug and do collect. So, but vinyls are very fun, and when their artwork is even as if it's even close to what we see here. But actually, let me tell you, what made me jump at this vinyl is two discs or two records and double-sided both. The D side, essentially, so the second side of the second one has a bonus track of just it's all actually spooky sounds.
Ooh, is it the same soundtrack that goes with the what do they call it now? The jack-o'-lantern, like
the gulag or
the gulag. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
There are some sounds that caught me off guard. I'll never forget it because like when I got it, I put it on the record player and I had like one candle on and I just wanted, and like, you know, my wife was sitting right next to me and we were just like listening.
It reminds me of Almost Famous, by the way. Light a candle and listen to this song at this moment at night. Do you ever watch Almost Famous?
I've never seen Almost Famous.
Oh my goodness. Well, somebody's going to get that reference and think it's amazing. So
but I mean, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
light a candle.
It's how, but if you remember, a lot of things I do say here about like, and make sure you're watching this movie with X things. Make sure you're watching this movie with this and that. This could play into that. I had one candle on, the music was playing, it was just the spooky sounds, and it's a lot of like the spooky things that you hear in the movie. It actually is sound effects from the movie in that spooky sound area, and yeah, quite. You know, some of it is the gross parts of the movie, like you know, you're hearing the slushing and slogging around. But back to the beginning of this movie, you see a couple, right?
Yeah,
married couple who are coming back from a Halloween party, and it looks like the wife, played by Leslie Bibb, named Emma, is already annoyed already, like, you know, just kind of not into it, right? She's just
she's had her night.
She's had her night, yes. But she's like also like her husband didn't do her any favors. I just like I see that moment and I'm just like I would never make my wife do that. I would never be like the easy to wear, you know, easy to take off costume.
Oh yeah.
And she's like in this like, okay, so it's like futuristic robotic, but it's like very much like, you know, kind of
it's a cardboard box, right? I mean,
yeah, she's wearing a box and she's like this like robot, and I'm sure her head was like mostly covered for the night. I just think like we've all kind of been there. When your night's done, you're ready to get home, and the last thing you want to do is like have to deal with a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I sympathized with her when she gets home and she's like, you know what? I just want to get out of this stuff. We're lit. You know, you're lit. I'm lit. Let's get out of this deal. And I'm like, okay, cool. Go to bed and, you know, talk about it in the morning. The fact that they're just like not holding Taco Bell is probably like the only thing that's missing. But she just like says, I want to clean up everything. I want to clean up all the horror decorations. And like, I was like,
I'm sorry?
If you're beat, you do not want to do this, one. And two, how dare you? This is assuming that this is happening on Halloween night, which it is. But like, we all know, everyone has a Halloween hangover in the sense of like, yeah, the decorations should go up until Halloween. You get about a week after Halloween to legitimately have your decorations up until you got to take them down. She wants to take them down night of, but the point of all this is what I'm talking about is like when you're seeing this happen, you get a little bit of like normal camera angle, but then you get some, which is POV from a viewer,
yes.
a peeping Tom.
Yes.
And then they make and what was alluded here in our opening, which was lighting the jack-o'-lantern and keeping it lit. She decides, I want to blow out this candle. Husband, and his name is Henry, that's my brother's name, says, hey, you know, keep it lit, right? She's like, why? You know, tradition. She's like, this is not Hanukkah. Very funny line. But she blows out the candle. When she does it, and here's the point. This is all coming back to this one big point I'm trying to make. As soon as she blows out the candle, you hear like an audible gasp from the viewer.
The POV, yes.
Yeah, the POV, right. And it's eventually you're going to learn that it's Sam, but I also think it's kind of adorable, the noise that you hear.
That's the thing about Sam is it's the childlike spirit of Halloween. And that's so important because that is what Sam is. Sam is this like pumpkin-filled, gut-filled child, I guess.
He's like a living
he
pumpkin
punishes
kid.
everybody that breaks the rules of Halloween in this fictitious town in Ohio. What's funny about this is like she didn't do anything that terrible.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like she's the villain killer now. It's like, you know, you could tell that she's appeasing her husband with the whole Halloween thing. Basically, she's just like, I wore this stupid costume for you. We decorated our house, which they did a fantastic job.
They did
by
a
the way.
phenomenal job, Lance.
The ghosts in the yard were just fantastic. Their little ghost scarecrows and all the lighting and everything. It was just
So good.
phenomenal.
I should take notes.
Yeah, I think we all should. There's hanging body parts, which you might not even notice if you're walking up to trick or treat. They left their lights on all night. She's just like, I'm done. I've appeased you. Halloween is over. We're going to bed. Don't forget the sex tape.
Here's the thing.
The nature, what was it? The nature show? Or
because
nature special.
All right. Are we gonna go there?
Yes, we are.
Fuck it.
We're
Let's
talking
go
about
there.
the movie.
Let's go there. Back in the day, folks, when you had a collection of VHS, right? You had labels on these VHS tapes, and there was there's a duty that the one who has these VHS tapes, there's a duty this person has is to label these tapes.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a tape that is sultry,
Naughty,
sensual, what? You don't want everyone to be going through your VHS tapes and be like, okay, what do we got here? We got Godzilla, Sleeping Beauty, Toy Story, whatever the case may be. And they're like, oh, sex.
Perfect.
You don't want these folks to see that. So what they did was label that tape that is basically porn. It's porn. Nature special.
Yeah.
So that when you... Oh, man, this is digging really deep. When you have someone is going through and they see nature, you want to... There was a sub art within that art of labeling your VHSs. You were like, what name can I come up with that is so boring that when someone comes across it, they would be like, definitely don't want that, right? So they came up with Nature Special. I'm just remembering... gosh, I apologize to all my family who's listening to this, but honestly, like, you know, it was VHS, but like starting to move into digital. So on my desktop, it was like, how do you hide the stuff that's on your desktop?
I mean, yeah, like, so DVD was like early 2000s. This is 2009 that this is coming out on Blu-ray, I believe, or DVD, straight to DVD.
Well, this is 2007, right?
2007 is when it actually hit the
all the
festivals.
Okay.
But the DVD release was in 2009.
That's crazy.
So VHS was still a culture, kids. Sorry. But yeah, we used to have these home videos, and a lot of them were not labeled. So you could tell, like, nowadays it's like your parents are like giving you the VHS, like, oh God, please don't be the sex tape that we made. And
it's grainy though. It's grainy.
You're like, okay, digitize this, but God bless it. I hope it's not that one, because a lot of our parents had them.
It is that one. What? Wait. Sorry. What? Sorry?
I'm not talking about my parents, actually. I'm talking about somebody else's. But
because they didn't label it Nature Special.
I was asked to digitize some videos, and I found some stuff. Just saying. Anyway, let's move on with one thing I got to get back to. I know I've lost Danny, so I can talk for a minute. Henry, I'm rooting for Henry because, like I said, his wife is obviously appeasing him, and he's the Halloween guy. He's probably the one that decorated mostly, but it looks like his wife helped. He's dressed up, and he wants a fucking nightcap with his wife. He's like, let me put on the Nature Special. Let's have our night. Let's finish it. Nightcap it. I'm all about Henry.
I'm all about Henry too. The character and my brother. Hey, Henry. Also, listen to this. Do you ever feel that you are the most Halloween-y in your relationship?
Do I? No, actually.
Are you out Halloweened by your wife?
We're about even.
Yeah.
She's more the consumer Halloween-y person.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no, but we got to like hold up the traditions. Like, I would join the cult of Sam.
I sympathize with Emma, but I'm Henry in the relationship, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, when can we start decorating for Halloween?
Okay.
And she's like, babe, it's July. I'm like, I know, but it's after 4th of July and there's nothing.
I get it. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So have those things to look forward to.
But what has worked a lot is that, you know, she's come up to where I'm at.
Bringing her
so, up. So I know that my wife in that situation would not be Emma. Just be like, I hate this shit. My mom's coming over, because what she said, she's like, my mom's coming over, and if all this shit is up, she's gonna lose it. Sorry, timeout. Your mom wants you to not have any Halloween decorations on November 1st. What kind of sicko is this? Yes, there's going to be some carryover. There's some carryover at Disney when, they're done with their Halloween stuff. And that's because they take it down quick.
Yeah. I mean, like overnight. And I mean, the thing is like, again, their yard display is phenomenal. There's body parts everywhere. There's ghost scarecrow looking things. It's awesome. Back to the action. So Sam is offended by what has just happened.
It's very offensive. It's very offensive because Henry tells her what the tradition is, and she says no, she don't care. But she kind of, she throws him a bone, which is kind of fun. You could see the relationship, and I think that is what's so smart about this moment by Michael Dougherty is that he could just make this like terrible person where she's like, and I don't want to, and I hate it, and take all this down, and you're not getting any tonight, and then you'd be like, oh. Screw it, kill her. I don't care about her.
Yeah.
And then she has it, even if it's a slight thing where she's like, go put the tape on. Like, and he gets excited because they're going to have a fun night. So you feel like, okay, she's not, you get a glimpse of the relationship. You get a glimpse into their life and you're like, okay, this is fun.
But it kind of sets up the whole thing of like, this is going to be a fun horror film. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she didn't do anything terrible where you're like, yeah. Get her now. No. So what?
She has that small redeeming quality.
So anyway, she's just taking down the decorations and then she notices a prowler. And we've already been set up to think like, oh, somebody is watching her. And this must be the person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the person is this white-faced, hooded figure person. And there's trick-or-treaters running around. What do we know about white-faced, like white masked figures? They're pretty synonymous with Halloween horror films. Right? Yeah.
But it's not Ghostface.
Danny's pointing at Ghostface. I'm thinking of Michael Myers.
Well, look at that. You just like it's playing on the sensory connection.
Exactly.
It's like white face. I mean, like I've seen some movies that have come out and they have a mask killer and they're hooded and they have like a darker face, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is cool. This is nice. And when you see that white mask kind of glaring from the street, your mind, if you have any connection to any of these previous horror franchises, your mind does this thing where like, all right, this is a threat.
Yeah.
Got to take it seriously.
Absolutely. So it's set up like a slasher. We know that somebody's watching her. She sees somebody watching her, and it's the white-faced, white-masked human that's watching her. Emma sees it, and she is terrified. So she understands the trope. And she reacts to it. And the next thing we know, car pulls up. It's a teenager. Where the heck have you guys been? Why are you guys late? Gets in the car, drives away. Oh, the threat is still around, but it's not what we thought it was.
Right. And also, like, if it was like a full either young adult or an adult standing there on the side of the road, if that's the person that made the sound, got to go see a doctor, friend. But yeah, so that, like, traditional trope, like Lance says, is neutralized. It's like, okay, the terror is gone. It's gone. It's out of here, right? It's Michael Myers driving into the darkness in the station wagon. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. You can let your guard down a little bit, but not really, right? Starts to take down the decorations, taking down sheet after sheet after sheet, and then she gets it. She gets got. Basically, there's like just like a flurry that explodes. She's getting the sheets and she's throwing them into this like one big sheet box where it's not a piece of sheet box, but it's like a sheet box. She's throwing them all into this box like to collect them, and it's like it's how she's taking them down. Where I'm thinking, okay, Leslie Bibb, take a chill pill. You are ripping these things down, and they're doing that whip. Mm-hmm. You know, like when you do that whap with the towel, you do that whip, you know, something like sheets that are very like thin and stuff. They can do that whipping action is where you want to be, right?
Yep.
If you okay, let's get real quick the anatomy of a good towel whip. right?
Okay.
If you have a fluffy ass towel, go home. You're not going to do anything good with a fluffy towel. It almost has to be a towel that's like lean, older sort of thing. Like a lot of the bristles are gone. It's got to have some like, you have to be able to wrap it and like make it taut, and then the snap is all on you.
You just put me in the locker room of Teen Wolf, by the way.
Exactly. This is where, and we're going to get there. He's right next to me. We're eventually going to get there. We're eventually going to get to Teen
towels.
Wolf.
Okay, but we're on sheets.
She's ripping the sheet
Whipped.
slants, and they're making these like noises, wapa, 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 and it's like always like a focus on the head of these, you know, like they're these 2x4 like, I guess like crosses, but they have like a head on them, so it could look like they're, you know, so they can throw a sheet on them. It looks like a ghost. But as she's whipping them, you're thinking, okay, here it comes. Here comes the scare. Doesn't come. Here comes the scare. Doesn't come. Here comes the scare. Doesn't come. Okay, I guess the scare's not going to come from this way. She's like taking out all of them, puts them in a box, and then eventually she goes to the box to throw another one, and then explosion. You got the sheets are exploding with a lot of like air. It almost looks like the shot, the t-shirt cannon when you at the baseball games or whatever, or the football games. And then the leaves are also.
I was gonna say. I want to say like the leaves are what comes up. So it's again setting the scene. Like this is autumn. This is October 31st, 100%. This is like the perfect Halloween town.
Beautiful.
Which we're going to get to in a minute, but is the perfect Halloween town.
And she basically got attacked by Sam via Freddy Krueger attacking Tina in the original Nightmare. Under the sheets, the shot is like the camera's under there with you, and you see that she's getting ripped up. You see that she's getting attacked, essentially, but you don't really make out what it is, but it's under all these sheets. And it's a nice nod to that sort of like look of somebody being like killed under like a cover, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you assume that she's definitely not making out of that. And then we go and we see Henry, who has the tape on.
Yeah, he's ready, but he's fallen asleep.
So he's ready.
It's a long night.
Yeah. Goes and does some investigative work looking for his wife, finds out that she's not only been killed, but her body parts have been strewn about the decorations.
Not only that, but there's one of the sheet now is glowing. One of the little scarecrows that they created is glowing orange. It's like, oh, this is like the highlight of our yard. I don't remember doing this. That's what draws his attention, pulls the sheet down, and sees body parts, like Danny said, strewn apart, like the 2x4s and everything. Yep. And then close up of her face and a big old candy lollipop shoved in her face, obviously dead.
I'm sorry,
we hear his reaction.
I don't know what kind of lollipop do you mean? What's a lollipop look like?
Well, okay, there's two different kinds, right? So there's the round one, and then there's like the flat circular ones.
Okay.
So it's more the flat one, but it's humongous.
Okay.
And her cheeks are her mouth is completely spread open, and this thing has been shoved inside.
Wow. So
it was very phallic, wasn't it?
It was. Trick or treat or not. Do we have something like that here in the Slasher's Paradise?
Oh my, you're going to make me get it, aren't you?
Maybe.
All right.
Check it out, folks. And this is just an enticing sort of moment for you all that are listening only. Here's a nice little prop of the lollipop that Sam uses for a lot of his kills. And you can imagine that this was jammed into the mouth. You see, it's too much, right? So he made that. Made that fit for poor Emma, who is now a part of the decorations. But you know what? Like, think about this. Henry was aware of the traditions, tried to observe the traditions, and it looks like he gets out of this moment unscathed, essentially. I mean, like, not totally unscathed. It's like, I mean, that the amount of terror. And I think that the actor does a phenomenal job at this when he sees that his wife is basically decapitated. It's just that sort of like shock. Like, you can't just start screaming, because that just screams like, you know, old school trope.
Right. He
whips off and he's like, he almost doesn't know what he's seen, and then he lets out that scream, and it's just like, I felt for him, obviously, because like, let's just put it this way: Sam would not be a mascot past that night. if I found my wife on one of those things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What you just reminded me of in watching the movie is I'm reminiscing about old Halloweens and how we used to decorate our yard, and me just being like the little weird kid that I was. Once the night was pretty much over, I would kind of just wander our little yard graveyard. We had all the orange lights and everything like that.
So awesome, man.
No more trick-or-treaters. The night is kind of dead. That's kind of where we are at this point, technically. The movie jumps around in the time of the night quite a bit, so this is more the end of the night that we're starting with. But I'm reminiscing about that and being creeped out in my own yard of all the Halloween decorations and what could happen and the celebration of Halloween and all the myth and just everything about Halloween. Like, it captured it so well in this first scene, and it set it up like a slasher. So right away as a fan, I'm in.
And you know what's so great? And obviously the movie's going to progress, and we're going to get more into like, because this is your opening essentially. And then we're going to find out, as I said in the Pumpkin Spice Latte, this is a separate stories, but they're kind of interwoven into each other. And I just have to say, fictitious or not, if this town exists for real, I am going to friggin' move there tonight. That's a lie. I have to get clearance. But the point is this. I love... It reminds me of the Hocus Pocus town. That sort of like small town, but everybody's into it. It's like one big Halloween party on the main street. I just love... There's no cars. It's shut down. I'm just like, this would never happen in my hometown, man. First of all, I'm
basically Salem.
Is it basically Salem?
It's basically Salem. The thing about Salem now is it's become popular. I've been to Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween night. It's become massively popular, and now there's a big college crowd of like outsiders that have come into the town. But if we had been there just a few years prior, this was it.
I just want to be there. I want to give all my money to the local vendors. Yeah. I want to I was like this like, old couple who just like makes these muffins, and they have this like little muffin shop. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I want, but I know I want this town.
Yes.
I retire there, bury me there. I don't know what the hell it is. I just need to like experience a town like this to where everyone is in on it.
Yeah. 100%. The main town is a huge celebration. And this is right after the opening scene, as we kind of break into all the other stories. So the first main scene is just this one thing, but now we go into everything else. We're introduced to all the other characters, but we're introduced to them in the main town. And it is just amazing chaos. It's all Halloween chaos. People are rushing to get a costume at the last minute.
That part is what just destroyed me. The fact that you could be like, it's Halloween night, time to get a costume. But it was pretty on. Right. I was like, that doesn't, maybe not. Maybe all the costumes are sold out by then. But what actually made sense was the totals when they were checking out. And he was like, it's 200 and something. Like, yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I feel like Spirit wasn't quite as popular at this time, 2006, 2007 when this was filmed. So Spirit wasn't quite blown up into what it is. And you get your costume in July now, basically.
It's kind of set up that way, right? They have the fitting rooms at the back. And
yeah, but this is just like a local town. Again, I've been to Salem, Massachusetts. This is like, there is shops like this there. Yeah, you got to go, man.
It's not fair. You know what it is? Out of all the things, it's not fair.
Poor Danny having FOMO over here.
I really am.
Yeah, so the town is just set up beautifully. There is a massive party in the middle of the town. It's a small town, obviously. It's actually a fictitious town. I forgot the name of it.
Like
but it's in Ohio.
The news is covering it.
Yeah, that's
it's like
how
a big
it
thing. It kind of damn it! I started talking about. There's this WNUF. The Halloween special, it's on like, it's weird. It's filmed as if it's a small town's Halloween special of like their local TV station. It's like, and now the news, and now we're going to kick it over to Chip Douglas or whoever's going to be your correspondent. And they're like, tonight we're doing Channel 5's version of the... I'm blanking, and I could just probably search it up. And you know what? Honestly, I might throw it into the Slash Paradise because this is like, it's phenomenal. And they're already making a sequel, but it's just shot as if it's like a real thing. Like if somebody actually made a TV special for a news station where they get like the anchor to just be like, hey, we're here on the scene. We're just going to kind of like go through the haunted house, whatever. And it ends up like being like a legitimate thing. Anyway, it kind of felt, I love that the news is covering it. It's not like a national news thing. It's not like it's a big thing. This thing happens
local news.
Yeah. Local news. Beautiful. Yeah. Huge FOMO. Definitely want to be there. Definitely want to be, if I can be honest, and I hope I can at this point with all y'all, is that when they're in the costume store where they're getting their costumes, I get like...
By the way, they are Anna Paquin and a group of her friends. There's 4 friends, or 3 friends, so there's 4 girls all together.
Yeah.
Just to kind of set it up, they are rushing for their costume, and they are talking about getting dates for a huge party in the woods.
Which, again, another FOMO. I think I just get FOMO with this whole fucking movie.
It's the perfect Halloween. It really is.
It really is a perfect Halloween, save that I don't want to die on the Halloween. But I won't because I'm doing all the traditions the correct way.
Yes.
All right? I've got candy. I'm not dragging my bag of candy on the floor. What fucking psychotic person does that shit? But anyway, back to the costume shop, right? You did, didn't you?
I didn't do anything.
You were smiling.
No.
Anyway,
I got a camera again, so yeah.
Oh, okay,
I'm smiling
okay.
at the crowd.
Right. The point is that these 4 friends who have to get their Halloween costumes for the night are here in this costume shop, and it's just as a bigger guy, I've never really felt like I could be able to go into these things and just get something that fits me. That's kind of like why I kind of drifted towards a lot of like the Michael Myers every year, because I knew the coveralls were going to fit me, or be like, hey, here comes Commando. Actually, the other one nights recently, Caitlin and I, that's my wife, were the Frog Brothers, and I'm like, you see, if I could be from Lost Boys, if I could be something that is like, I need to get normal conventions like jeans and a shirt that like I fit into every day.
I feel you.
But it's just like predetermined sizes, like put on all these things and you will now be Snow White, you will be Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, which is basically all these costumes that these girls get. I'm just like, it must be cool to have like a normal size body that you could just like, oh yeah, that's going to fit me. I'll tell you, I'm an XL. I tried on an XL, and if it was like halter top, I was like, okay, I guess I could be, Chubbs from Teen Wolf, which is a cool costume anyway.
I would love to see that actually.
but yeah, it's chaos in the costume shop, and they're all getting their costumes, and they all get costumes that fit wonderfully, by the way.
Yeah, Anna Paquin's character, what was her name, actually? Lori.
Her name is Lori.
I'm sorry, you already addressed this, Lori.
I haven't.
Is kind of shy, kind of, comes out of it, feels foolish. It's kind of a sexy Little Red Riding Hood costume. 2 of the other girls are Disney princesses, and then 1 is Bo Peep. So
yeah, you got Little Bo Peep, Cinderella, and Snow White.
What I will say at this mark is, on your second watch, you'll start to listen to their conversation more and realize that the movie's going to tell you everything that's going to happen. But we'll get back to that. They are kind of setting up Lori as a virgin, basically, and she wants her night to be special. And this is the night that she wants to give away her virginity of some sort to a very special guy, but none of them have dates, so it's going to be a stranger of some sort. All the other girls seem to be very experienced in what they're doing and grabbing dates for their nights. And what? Danny's giving me a look. That's my job.
I know. I just feel like, what are nights that are synonymous with I'm going to lose my virginity on this night? You got prom night.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, sometimes wedding nights, so on and so forth. I just need to know these people. Obviously, it's a little bit of a red herring what they're, kind of setting up. But I need to know these people are like, it's Halloween night. It's time to lose your virginity. I was like, yes, same wavelengths. Absolutely. Halloween night is very special. It is monumental.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like that sort of like that thought process is like, you know what, Lori? it's about goddamn time you lose your virginity, girl, because it's Halloween night, and we all know. I'm just like, wait a minute. And I get it, it's a Halloween movie, but at the same time, it's like, it's fun. It's fun.
It is fun, and I enjoy these girls. They're very cute. They're just like having this fun conversation. The girls are, like I said, the three friends are pretty experienced and just like, come on, Lori, it'll be fine. The main like leader of the group, I guess, is just like trying to be her friend. Like, I'll help you out. I'll find a guy for you.
Right.
Basically. And Lori's like, no, it needs to be special. And I'm like, oh God, what a cliche. And I'm going to find him on my own. So that's that. Okay. We'll wrap up that story for now. And then we go into
dragging your goddamn candy in a sack. And like, honestly, it's probably the sack that Jason wore in Friday the 13th Part 2. Go visit that franchise coverage that we did on Audioly on whatever platform you get your podcast. But the having a pillowcase full of candy is entirely one thing.
okay.
Dragging said pillowcase on the floor as you just meander through the town is a complete other. You do not get to do that, vile person.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about this fat kid. It's messed up, man. I shouldn't have said it. But honestly, he's a portly little fellow who is, if you know and have seen Bad Santa, he's the fat portly kid from Bad Santa.
Yeah.
I believe his name is Charlie in the movie.
I think so. Yeah. Charlie.
Charlie's is a little vile son of a bitch. He's got a shirt that's a little too tight on him. We've all been there. It's humid. And the shirt said, "This is my Halloween costume," which is kind of, we've seen that shirt. You've seen that shirt before. Somebody who's just like, I'm going to make a statement. I'm coming as an average consumer.
It's laziness, and that's all there is to it.
Honestly, it's laziness.
You put it on a t-shirt so that he can get candy. When people ask him, where's your costume? Read the shirt. Give me my candy.
It's laziness in the costume. It's laziness now. You wanted candy? Put some effort, fuckface, and actually pick it up off the ground. I used to hate when I would see kids who wouldn't like pick up their feet. They would drag their feet like through the hallway. Like, pick up your feet to walk. You're not skiing, like walk.
All right. What is Charlie doing?
Charlie's dragging his pillowcase of candy through the town and then finding his way into the neighborhoods and knocking over jack-o'-lanterns.
Ooh, how dare you.
Knocking them over, Lance, and smashing them.
Yeah.
He's smashing pumpkins.
He's smashing pumpkins. Smashing pumpkins. Danny's singing Smashing Pumpkins.
I don't know the lyrics. I just know the melody.
That's pretty good. That's pretty. That's Billy Corgan. Yeah, perfect.
The wrestling promoter himself. He ends up coming upon Steven, who is the principal, who sees that this kid is just being a little son of a bitch because he's knocked over all these pumpkins. And I've done this before. I don't know if you've ever done this at your home where you set up a bin or a little jar.
Yes.
There's a jar set up. He's like, he's trick-or-treating. So he goes up to a friggin' house, and on the porch is a, "Hey, we're sorry we missed you. Take one." And the one is highlighted. It is bold. It is beautifully written. Take one from this bowl. And
because we're out celebrating. Like, you have to do it, but you can't break the rules. You got to give candy out to every trick-or-treater. So take one. I'm trusting you because I'm out celebrating, but you should also get your candy. So here it is.
What is that tradition, right? About the candy. It was something like food offerings, appeasing the gods.
You're talking about the old what?
Like
Celtic?
Like
Samhain,
Samhain. It's the Lord of Dead, the festival of the end of summer. What is the reason to go and ask for food? Ask for candy, essentially.
That I don't remember.
I think that's what it is.
I also just played Assassin's Creed, so I should know this. But
I do think that's what it started off as, is that like there were always like offerings, and can you donate your offerings? So they would, maybe there was something to that they would go house to house and ask for the offerings from what can you spare for the festival. Right. So maybe that's where it started.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's trucking this whole bucket,
just dumps it in,
immediately,
and he gets every bit of it,
and he gets got by by the principal. That's his house, and he was out, I guess, shopping for some more candy and a knife, and he sees this little piece of shit, and he's like, you're not supposed to do that. And he's like, you know what, take a seat, we're gonna have a little conversation. And he's talking about like the traditions of Halloween. They were meant to protect us, which is like alluding to the pumpkin that, you got to leave the light on until it's done.
Let me just, he's got a warming sense of like, oh, everything's okay. That's the principal. That's like, he's counseling one of his students, but there's something creepy to him when he pulls out a knife and says, it's not for you. My knives were dull or something like that.
It's for the pump. Dylan Baker plays this principal, and he's got that sort of like, I don't know how else to explain this, or describe it, but soft lips sort of thing. If you look at his face, he's got like very like perfect teeth, but like his lips are just very like, soft. He looks like a guy that's been smiling his whole life, right?
Okay.
Just take a look. But here's the point: is that
smiling at me?
Oh,
all right. Sorry, I keep getting distracted.
No, but the point is that you're right. He does have this warmth about him because you're like, okay, it's the principal. He obviously isn't going to do anything to me. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I wasn't supposed to get all these candy. He's like, take a seat, I'll talk to you. Pulls out a knife, and the kid almost looks at him because he pulls it off. He doesn't pull it out and be like, I'm just going to carve over here. But honestly, you want honesty?
Give it to me.
The amount of dedication to leave your house just to go get a new knife so that you could finish carving a jack-o'-lantern. I love Halloween, Lance. Anyone who knows me knows that I love this season. I know you do too. If my knife is too dull to carve a jack-o'-lantern and it's Halloween night, guess what? Jack-o'-lantern ain't going to get finished because I'm just not going to leave my house to go get a brand new knife to finish it. I'll figure something else out. But he went to go get more candy and a new knife to finish.
Well, the candy thing you kind of understand. Usually, like, my Halloweens, you have a couple people at the house. They're like, can you go get the candy? But he's by himself. He's got his kid there, I guess. His kid's out trick-or-treating.
Eventually,
maybe.
Yeah.
So I get where it's at, but I'm also like, sharpen your knives, dude. Like, just
easy.
What's the little tool? I forget what it's called, but I have one. You just sharpen it up. It's good to go.
Well, he's talking about traditions. He's talking about age-old traditions, and we all remember, at least I hope we do. If you don't, there was a myth that folks were putting razor blades and or other methods of destruction and death and maiming into either candy or fruits that they were handing out. The most popular one is that there was razor blades in apples when the houses you would go to would hand out apples. So this disgusting kid does the thing where he starts to eat all the candy
as he's being talked to. So he just doesn't care, but he's being forced to sit down.
Right.
So he starts peeling off, eating all the candy.
And then what does Steven say as the kid starts to choke on himself?
What does he say?
Oh, because he's talking about the traditions. He's like, oh, you forgot one of the most important ones. Always check your candy. Because Charlie is now choking on candy, and then not only choking, but regurgitating, throwing up disgustingly. And I'll say, folks, this is the moment in the spooky sounds on the vinyl that I'm not the biggest fan of. And it's also the thing I talked about earlier when I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of like really, really gross shit. Like heads getting chopped off, you get stabbed and your arm gets whatever. Like if it's like someone's attacking you or whatever, but like honestly, it's just like too like vomiting out, like an uncontrollably vomiting, which is what this kid eventually does. He vomits out so much because the candy's obviously poison and he dies. And you're like, oh, the principal's actually not trying to save him. The principal's actually like, this is all kind of going according to plan. And then you see that the principal has ulterior motives, which is like a huge constant theme throughout this whole movie, which is you think one thing is happening and then another thing happens. And you're like, oh shit, that is not what I thought was going to happen. So badass. Anyway, You see that the principal is going to take old disgusting shit bag over into his house and either bury the body or dispose of it in one way or another. And you're like, oh shit, we're in for a treat here.
Yeah. One thing I will say, what I remember from the commentary, like Michael Dougherty, they actually, this vomit is so disgusting and it's a weird color because it's all the chocolate and candy that this kid has eaten, plus the blood from all of the razors and everything that he just digested, you know? So that's why there's so much weird color to it. It's this weird, like, bloody chocolate disgustingness. Gross. And it's just constant. It just keeps coming up. It literally splashes all over the porch, all over the stairs of the porch. And you're like, oh shit, this guy's nuts. And I can't wait to see where we're going with it next. So as he takes the kid in, he's obviously covered in blood. And he's just a big kid, but he's still like kind of alive. You hear like the guttural, like, yeah. So the kid's like dying, but he's not dead yet. And then we get some more trick-or-treaters, and we're introduced to another new storyline, which we'll get to in a little bit.
But we see somebody who's like, you're not the trick or treat. You're not a trick or treater. You're not a normal trick or treater. Right away, we see what end up being our mascot. We see Sam right away, and you're like, you're acting different than everyone else who's just out in a costume. Anyway, yeah.
We mean after the trick or treaters come
yes.
up, and then Sam just kind of, he's like, oh. Yeah, you too. You want some candy? You get any? He thinks he's part of the same group. So Sam is just like, oh, I'm here. I see what you're doing.
But you know from the way Sam is reacting, it's like the other ones are like, trick or treat. Sam just kind of like is there and doesn't say trick or treat, which is like, whatever. You're like, I got to pay attention to this little person right here.
Yeah. And then he walks away after he gets his candy. And again, it's that innocence of a little kid. I think the kid was 5 years old at the time playing Sam. So he grabs his candy and just kind of trots off. And you hear him, thanks. And then you hear his bag that he's dragging on the ground, which Danny hates.
I fucking hate it.
He's dragging his like weird burlap sack and it's making little like creature sounds in it.
I want his head wrapped in burlap.
But we are introduced to 3 new trick-or-treaters, which will come into play. And I kind of want to get to that story because that's one of my favorites of the whole movie is the quarry.
Right.
And so we these 3 trick-or-treaters, we've got Schrader and Macy.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't know the pirate's name. I don't know if it's ever even mentioned.
Oh, the pirate's name is Chip.
Chip? Mm-hmm. That's his name?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. We have another one.
I think that's Sarah.
Sarah's dressed as an alien. She's got the retainer in.
Yeah, I think that's Sarah.
Okay. So we meet them, and they are just trick-or-treaters. They're Schrader's just kind of like this hero kid. You know what I mean? Like, he just immediately to me says hero.
Right.
Okay. What? You got something to say about Schrader?
No. I mean, it's just like, yes, he does. He does reek of hero because, he's fit and he's clean cut. And
he's nice.
You just know it's not going to be Chip, is what I'm saying. The pirate, he's not going to be the hero because he's a short little portly dude who's just like dumb. He's dumb. He's like, oh, I guess you like Halloween. It's like, oh yeah, yes, agreeing with you.
I guess Chip just seems like the cowardly lion to me. Schrader just kind of is just this well-spoken boy. He's probably like just gone through puberty. You know what I mean? So he's got a little bit of a bass to his tone in his voice.
Yep.
But these 4 trick-or-treaters are headed off to take on a new tradition, but they got to make a stop really quick. Got to pick up a few pumpkins.
Yep. They've been collecting pumpkins. Well, that's how they met Steven, is they collected the pumpkin from him.
Oh, that's right. They actually asked, can we take this pumpkin? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
You're not going to smash it, are you?
Yeah.
And they're like, tonight.
So then our trick-or-treaters head to a house that is just another amazing. I wish I could do this to any house that I've ever lived in.
Do it to mine.
Oh my God. So there's like 45, 50 pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns
Let's get to work.
set up on the house. There's no other lighting except for the jack-o'-lanterns that have all been carved by lovely Rhonda.
I love Rhonda, man.
I do. Help me, Rhonda. Help
me, Rhonda. Help.
So we meet Rhonda and her little witch outfit. They're obviously not friends with Rhonda. She's kind of newer to the group, but they're using her to pick up a few more pumpkins because she's got them all over the place. I love Rhonda.
I love Rhonda, man.
My favorite character in this whole film.
It's not fair. I'll tell you what it is. It's not fair.
Oh God, here we go again.
No, because like I freaking hate bullies so much. Why? Maybe I had tendencies as a bully-ish when I was in middle school, just like being overtly cruel just because I thought I had a quick tongue and people were kind of laughing at what I was saying. But now looking at this, this depiction, she's a sweetheart, and it's like, okay. I've been introduced lately to your star like your chart, your astrology chart.
Okay.
It's like I've always known, yes, I'm a Virgo. That's my thing because I was born, September. But it's like, what is like your ascending and all this other stuff is like what? So one of the ones that says what you truly are, but not what you put out to people. I definitely grew up as a sort of the words that would be aptly describing that type of person today, I guess, or even back then, nerdish. Like that was my true self.
Okay.
But I knew that I had to put out something else because of just like the area that I grew up in.
Okay. I see
you know
what
I'm saying?
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that Rhonda says, does, enjoys that I'm like, I see that. I can see that I am that. I enjoy that as well. And I'm like, let her enjoy these things. Let her have fun. Let her be happy. And it sucks. I always hate when they do this sort of like, it's like this weird like ugly duckling thing where it's like nobody likes you, but like the cool kids are going to show you some sort of attention. So now here you go, right? You're going to be like, well, I just want, I take everything at face or not face value, but like this, you could tell Rhonda wants to see like the inherent good in someone. So she was like, "Oh, y'all want to be my friend? Okay, I'll go with it."
Yeah,
and it breaks my heart, honestly. But I think that's what the intention of the whole premise is to kind of break your heart initially.
You immediately like Rhonda. She's got all the information about Halloween. We find out that she carved every single one of the jack-o'-lanterns in her yard. She's willing to give it to these kids because she's being brought along. She gives the entire background of Samhain, not Sam Hain. Samhain, and the whole lore of it to Chip, and he's like, "Oh, cool." He's just kind of like this doting, like, "You're weird, but all right, we're going."
And you're great, Chip? No. Rhonda kicks ass because she is very well read, very well spoken, and just like knows a lot of great cool things. You could just tell, like, yeah. It's like when Rhonda eventually gets into her high school, early young adult days, she's gonna throw like kick-ass Halloween parties, and y'all aren't gonna be invited because they're for the people who know, and they're gonna be awesome. And I want to go to Rhonda's party.
I want to go to Rhonda's party too, but I think I have a take on Rhonda at the end of this that we'll get to. But anyway, they are headed to the quarry of the town because, of course, there's a quarry.
There always is a quarry.
There's always a quarry. And Macy fills us in on a backstory, which, again, for a Halloween film, that's what I'm going to call this, away from a horror film, is a horror-themed Halloween film.
Wholeheartedly agree.
We get a backstory 30 years ago from this day on Halloween. This happened, and it's this pretty incredible story. It's really freaking creepy.
Oh, yeah.
A bus full of
troubled youth.
Troubled youth.
Is
Thank
what they
you
say.
Is the quote.
Yeah.
That is the quote. So there's 9 of them, I believe.
Enough to fill a not a full bus, but like a medium-sized bus.
It's a smaller bus. It's not even filled. Like each kid is on their own. It's again 30 years prior, so 70s. They're all like homemade masks. They're all wearing their masks. It's Halloween day. They have their little buckets ready, but the bus driver lets us know that they're all chained into the bus.
So like, I guess the troubled youth, idea is to be thought of as they aren't allowed or they shouldn't be without supervision. So in transporting them from their homes to the special school that they go to, they have to be, restrained. So I gotta say, man, it's extra. If Rhonda has already broken my heart, this story and depiction of it incredibly crushes my heart.
Yes.
And I don't know if anyone has had this sort of experience, but I remember when school was you were allowed to go to school in costume, right? And elementary, you did it. Middle school, you did it. But towards the end of middle school, it was like, it wasn't cool anymore. So like towards into high school, they just were like, well, nobody really wants to come to school dressed up. So they were kind of like, don't do it. Or if you do it, whatever. And it's just like, it honestly crushes me that they all got dressed up. They all have their buckets of candy. So it just is so sweet, man. It is so sweet in that moment. They don't know any better. They're just like obviously troubled. They're different, and they're obviously they're chained to their chairs and to their seats in the bus. And it's just like they did it. They got in a costume and they got their bucket so they could get candy, and it's so sweet. And you're like,
it's a paper mache mask too. Like they obviously made their costumes themselves.
Leave these poor sweet babies alone, man. But
they are what was it? The dark secret of the town, or the hidden mistakes of the town, or something like that. So the parents are the ones that collect money and give it to their everyday bus driver to take the kids to the quarry and stop the bus. And the bus driver gives each one of them a piece of candy. Mind you, one of the creepiest moments of this movie is the little boy vampire is counting every single address.
Right.
And when the bus driver makes the decision to go off trail, the normal route home, the vampire kid starts going, no, home.
Wrong way.
Wrong way.
Wrong way.
Wrong way. And then when they stop in the quarry, he starts saying, go home. Want to go home. And the bus driver's checking, making sure they're all chained in, and the little vampire boy's like, go home, and starts taking he's also strapped in with his wrist, starts taking it off, bleeding at the hands. I need to get out of here. Takes over the bus. Man. And it leads to one of the coolest shots actually of the film, and one of the hardest ones that they had to do. Bus driver's in the back, everyone's chained in except for the little vampire boy. Vampire boy guns the bus directly down into the quarry, and the way it's shot is pretty incredible, because you literally see the bus go off the cliff, just a cliff, but the camera follows it and goes straight down in, and you see the bus sinking in the water of the quarry. And it's just like the most heartbreaking thing to see. You just saw these troubled kids go down into the quarry. So it is a very heartbreaking, sad, haunted story. The bus driver does get out, but nobody ever hears from him ever again.
But you could see that he's wounded from the event.
You can hear him that he's wounded.
Yeah, you could see and hear.
His breathing, yeah.
And you're like, I wonder if that's going to come into play later. That's very specific of a thing to tell us if just somebody survived.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the bus go. It's wonderfully done in describing that whole thing. When I see the bus go down underwater and the bubbles kind of take it. Have you ever been in a tub when you were a kid and you just like got like, your little toy truck or whatever, or just like a cup? You ever get a cup and it's like a thing of water. You push the cup down, and when the water eventually fills the empty space and it just sinks.
Yeah.
It's like kind of reminds me of the Titanic, when it's like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm sure that this was, there was some air pockets for a while when the Titanic was sinking, but eventually the water finds everything. And yeah, the water overcame the bus and it sinks down to the bottom, and that's what Macy is telling this little crew about.
Right. And meanwhile, the kids are at the quarry telling this story with their jack-o'-lanterns, And there's this creepy little elevator that goes down into the quarry. And Macy's idea is that we have a pumpkin for each of the kids. I believe it was 8 now that I'm thinking about the movie. But we have a pumpkin as a homage to each of them, a sacrifice of some
memorial,
sort. Memorial for each of the kids that drown in the quarry. So who goes first? It's Macy, Schrader, and what was her name? Sarah.
Sarah, I guess.
Go down, leaving Rhonda, our favorite, and Chip behind. And then, gosh,
what are they hear screams.
Ah, man.
They hear that something has gone awry down at the base where that elevator lets out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay. First of all, kudos, I guess, to Chip, because he basically, sorry, I'm alluding. Anyway, it's all a ruse, just so you know. It is all a ruse. This is a diabolical plan, but Chip sells it incredibly, right?
He does, yeah.
But what breaks my heart is how Rhonda tries genuinely to help. What does she say? Like when she goes down the elevator with him, and she tells Chip, "Just wait here, okay?
Yeah.
I'll."
Yeah, and she's got she is well spoken, but she does almost has a stammer to her, which makes her even more lovable. And you're like, oh. The other thing I got to say really quick is while Rhonda and Chip are waiting, they hear a werewolf, which is a part of another story, but they hear it in the distance. And Rhonda immediately knows, and this is going to play later in a take I have on Rhonda, but she immediately knows it's a werewolf. She knows what's going on in the town.
Yes.
She knows 100% everything that's going on. She knows the rules of Samhain, however you want to say it. I almost feel like she knows Sam exists. But anyway.
I think you can almost look at the whole movie and know that there are two sides. There are folks who are in on it because they follow the traditions, and then there are folks who don't. And who are like unaware, and they are usually the ones that are caught in the crosshairs of whatever is trying to kill them or whatever.
So Rhonda heads down. It's a foggy quarry. She's looking for her new friends, hopefully friends. And then she is basically attacked by 3 zombie chained children. And she's running away from the children. She sees Chip on the ground getting eaten by one of the children zombies. She's terrified. She runs away. So much, and then she's terrified. She turns around, and unfortunately, she falls and hits the back of her head. This is like hurting my heart so much to talk about poor Rhonda.
Awful.
This is where the one minuscule critique I have for the entire film will come in.
Ooh.
And this is like a frame by frame critique. If you see the stunt actor that falls for Rhonda, you can actually see her Nike knee pad. It's the one minuscule thing I will say about this film that is a knock, but that is it. Rhonda hits her head. Hero Schrader comes in. Are you okay? She's really hurt. She's really freaked out. We need to get out of here. And you see her like curl into him, like what's happening? This is terrible.
It's so sad.
She's so scared. She thought these new friends of her that she finally made like died, or just horrible. And she gets hurt at the end of it. Oh God, I hate it. I hate it so much. It's making me more and more sad. I'm talking about it way too much.
No, but she gets hurt emotionally and physically, and obviously you see that there is a ringleader, which is Macy, who is just like, well, this was going so well until she got hurt. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? You're out here acting like the undead children of the myth of this town, and then you like scare this girl half to death who is aware that these sort of supernatural elements exist. Okay, so now that you're offended, you're mad that you did it. You scared her. She fell, she broke her crown, and Joe came tumbling after. You know what I'm saying? It's like she got hurt. We all know when you were wrestling with your friends and you're upstairs and everyone's like jumping on the bed and whatnot, and everyone like there's that one kid who pushes it too hard, and then they're like somebody starts crying. You're like, that's when the play is over.
Yeah.
Okay, the play's over. You got it. Macy. Sorry, folks. If you do hear stammering and clicking around, that's because there is a special guest here in the Slasher's Paradise who just decided to get up from his little bed and walk around, and that is none other than my little guy, Loomis. So if you do see a little fluffy tail walking around, that's what it is.
Hi, Loomis.
Loomis.
Okay, so this leads into Macy's like, fine. Hi, bud. Come here.
Well, look who it is, folks.
My goodness.
It is the
he's
little,
on the mic too.
It is the little guy himself, and he's about to go into the mic. Say what you want to say, Loomis.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Slasher's Paradise. And is anybody got any French fries? Okay, great. I'll just hang out with the guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Loomis.
Hi, Loomis. You want to get down? Okay.
Over here.
Okay. There you go.
So the point is that, like, okay, prank done. It should be over.
Bullying done. Yes, should be over. Macy's frustrated. Fine, let's get out of here. She hears whispers. She hears children cooing. I guess is kind of the word. It's like, and she blames Chip. Chip's like, it's not me. Macy.
I love that they give Chip that much, like, power. Like, Chip, stop doing the voices that you're so good at.
Right. So you hear this like distant, now it's becoming laughter, and it's like a multiple version of children. Like you can hear multiple laughs and all this kind of stuff. And now we're starting to get creep out. Schrader has taken Rhonda aside, and now it's Macy, Sarah, and Chip. And they look at the bus. Oh, we find out it was a true story, and the bus is still there. I guess the town in 30 years cannot pull the bus out of the quarry. So now we look at the bus and the water, and there's those bubbles and sounds coming, and we hear little faint chains. What is going to happen? We hear screams.
We do hear screams because the kids who originally were thought to just be a myth are actually coming back from the dead on the night of Halloween, which is what is the myth, and it is the lore of Halloween. The veil between the living and the dead is so thin that things can come back from the dead. That does play into a lot of the traditional horror. The traditional cultural things like Dia de los Muertos and things like that, where you can make these offerings around the area of Halloween, November 1st, November 2nd. So the idea that the veil between the living and the dead is so thin adds to that. If you were down there and poking the bear, because quite frankly, had nobody been down there in the quarry and that elevator not been down, these kids might have just been able to just rise from the dead, look around, see that nobody was there, and go back into the water.
Yeah.
But the fact that these assholes were down there pushing it and being little jerks, they came out and were like, we're not going to take this bullshit, and, saw some other kids, went after them. But wait a minute. Someone now has the upper hand. Au contraire, mon frere.
Frere.
There has been a ruckus. There has been a change. There has been a sort of table turn. Rhonda is now in the elevator.
Yeah, and left Schrader behind because Schrader went to find his friends who were screaming and being attacked by these zombie-ish looking
creatures from the Quarry Lagoon.
Very well said. So Rhonda's by herself in the elevator. Doors locked. And everyone comes calling, Rhonda, this is real. We need your help. And Rhonda is done, but she does a nice juke move on this one. Rhonda, grab the key. Open the door. She grabs the key, gives a very okay, I'll unlock it very slowly. I'll let these kids get a little bit closer to you. Now I'm going up, and hits the button, and it's like a, yes, Rhonda.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Rhonda.
We were so happy for Rhonda to do that moment. She was basically like, flipping off these kids. Even Schrader, who's like trying to have this like redeeming moment. He's like, you know what? No, actually, I'm the good guy. I'm the Freddie Prinze Jr. in this whole thing. Nah, eat shit, homie. You can die with the rest of your little bitch asses. I'm so glad that Macy gets got by these kids. But yes, Rhonda is able to escape, make her way on upstairs. Or up onto the top and get her little get the wagon that was carting off the little wagons and goes into town. And what a great ghost story of a moment that like traditional Halloween is about the ghost stories. You know?
Yeah, totally. And then when they come to life on Halloween, that's what you're most terrified of.
Absolutely.
That's why it actually scares you. What I love about this is, yet again, who's watching? Sam. Sam is up at the top of the quarry, and Rhonda doesn't pay attention to him, just kind of walks right by him, but he's like a physical form, just like, oh, cool, Rhonda, good job. And just walks off. It's so cool.
I love that.
Sam is a part of every single story, but he doesn't really like have a hands-on moment until the very end. Those werewolves. What happened to those werewolves?
So we heard wolves in the distance. We heard wolves in the distance, but something seems to be happening in the distance, and maybe we need to catch up on. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the 4 girls that were getting their costumes and such. Let's see what they're up to. Well, they're now all around a fire that's in the middle of the woods.
Well, 3 of them are. Yeah, the friends of Lori have
right.
gone to the party with their dates that they picked up in the awesome town party. Lori stayed behind because she's got to find her special someone, and this party looks pretty fun. Lori's stuck behind, and she's just kind of frustrated and like, I don't know if I'll ever find love or somebody to take my virginity tonight.
Oh boy.
But does she?
Boy, does she. Because she finds this mysterious figure who's like showing her attention, but we'd already seen this mysterious figure throughout the night in the movie. He was kind of like playing in the shadows and has already made his mark by biting into a just a normal person, because he is a vampire, or at least he's making you want to believe that he's a vampire. So he has already claimed one victim, and now he's here with Lori. And like, if you're looking at it linearly, you're looking at it like just this is the way the movie is going, out. Lori's in trouble. She's innocent. She's looking for her true love. This is not Frozen. This is not Enchanted. She's getting dead by a vampire, and this vampire
dead.
has got her up against a tree and kind of gives her the, what big eyes you have. Because they've already had a one nod to the we'll huff and puff and blow your the dressing room door down, and now he's saying what big eyes you have, and he's going to take a bite.
And she's wearing her Little Red Riding Hood.
Absolutely,
it's a cool shot. It is definitely play on the story of her walking through the woods and being followed by a possible wolf. We think it's a vampire, which is really cool.
Bites into her, takes a nice little bite out of crime. Lori does scream to high hell, and her friends, and there is the one leader of the friends who's watching, and it's just like, I'm worried about her. Here's the scream, and they're like, okay, now shit's gone awry.
Yeah.
We got to go check on her. And then we just see a body fall from the trees into the bonfire area. And never have we seen a bonfire area so filled and riddled with, you would think vampires, but in this case, maybe otherworldly scary creatures than we did in Lost Boys when all the vampires were around the bonfire. But we do have a bonfire. We do see a body fall to the ground, and we're going up to it, and you think it's Lori because she got bit and she did scream. Anna Paquin screamed up into the heavens, and they pull the little robe over this person to show their face, and it actually is not Lori.
No, but it is somebody pretty familiar.
It's the vampire.
Yeah.
Who, when they get demasked, it's actually Steven,
Wilkins.
the principal. Wow.
He's had a busy night.
He's got a tremendously busy night. One of the cool things that they do right away is they're like, oh, yeah, we know these are fakes. And they pull off his little fake teeth right away. He's obviously incapacitated. He's just kind of like gurgling over his, he's probably choking or something. His back is broken or whatever the case may be. Lori doesn't seem to be as helpless and innocent as it was alluded to.
Not at all.
She makes her way back to the party, makes her way back to the little bonfire there. The Little Red Riding Hood costume has now been a little bit more scantily clad.
Oh, yes. The hood is gone.
The hood's gone. She's showing off a little what's going on in her little area. Fine. And they're like, oh, we were so worried about you. Well, great. Let's get on to business, shall we? Yes. And now as the viewer, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? We thought this girl was going to die because she got bit by a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So if you survive that and actually throw him into the trees, you actually yourself might be something even more powerful.
Yes. What this leads to is one of the most amazing. It's the sex of this movie, basically. It's a crazy striptease. So first of all, inject some Marilyn Manson, and I know he's done some shit lately, and but back in the day, Marilyn Manson is sexy, goth, rock, all that kind of stuff. So insert some of that, and then we get a striptease from everybody, but it's not a typical striptease.
So they're stripping for sure.
A little bit of the clothes. We get a little flash, which was like, honestly, we didn't need. We
needed it.
When you're watching the movie, when you watch the movie as a whole, you're like, it's such a quick flash. Like, oh, was that just like a nod to every, like, we got to get a little bit of like, well, we showed, God, it's from a movie. I was thinking of a reference. Can't think of it. Anyway, we get a little bit of topless action, but then all of a sudden, it's not just clothes coming off. It's flesh coming off, and there is a full reveal that these girls are not what we thought they were the entire time, unless you're watching for the second or third time and you paid attention to their conversations. This is a bigger reveal than we really thought we were getting ourselves into. They are actually werewolves. And wolf.
It's a book by Thomas Wolfe.
So this, like, again, horror films do this a lot. They kind of play with your, like, I'm attracted to the girl and they're getting sexual and now they're fucking scary ass werewolves. So that's what we see, into a full on feeding frenzy from all of the girls, including Anna Paquin. We find out it's not her virginity that she's losing tonight. It's her first meal as a werewolf.
First kill, maybe?
Sure. Which is going to end up being Steve Wilkins.
Wilkins, what the hell are you doing out there?
He's going to get dead by these werewolves, Lance, who are all wet because they have been wearing these flesh bodies as cover, as camouflage, and as you know, their blood inside living tissue over metal endoskeleton. Well, in this case, it's living tissue over wolf. That's it, over fur. Wolf. So as they're like stripping the, you take your like it feels like they're taking like Under Armour sleeves off or whatever, or like, just like, whatever that's like like an accessory to their body, right. And it's just their skin and they're ripping it off. They're like, oh, I can breathe again. But what I love most about this scene, about this moment, practical effects for all the werewolves. There was one that's like, it's low. It's on all fours. I don't even know. It's almost like as if Loomis was there. He was just like low. It's like a dog, Yeah. And it reminded me of the werewolf from An American Werewolf in London, because it was like that werewolf was low. It was not like humanoid werewolf where they're on their hind legs. You do get a little bit of that, but when Anna Paquin's eventually gonna like make the kill, another werewolf comes next to her and it's just like, hi, it's just kind of like nuzzling up almost next to her, but it's like low. It's like on all fours.
Yeah. We've kind of talked about this before, the breakdown of like, do you like the human werewolf where it's still got some clothes on and it walks kind of like a human, maybe with a like knee kind of inverted, or do you like the dog werewolf? We get a full transformation. We kind of get all of it, which is really freaking cool.
Yep.
Into Anna Paquin's Laurie. She even says the line. So she's starting to do the transformation. She's got these like bizarre teeth, these wolfy teeth. She's got the eyes, and she's just oozing sexuality now, which she's been so innocent up until this point. And the everything's just kind of busting off of her, and she says the line like, "My, what big eyes you have," and just looks up, does more of a transformation, and bites down on Steve Wilkinson. And
adios, muchacho.
Adios. That's the end of that.
But you're like, you thought that Steven was going to be in a lot of, he was going to be in control of a lot of his narrative. But it turns out that like you bite off more than you can chew. If you can't chew like hell, you're going to die. So in this case, he does bite off more than he can chew, because earlier when he's doing the moment with Charlie and he's, killing the kid or whatever the case may be, he now doubles down and poses as this like makeshift asshole vampire that just is like, I'm going to put on fake teeth and go around biting people. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. It doesn't end up like working out for him. But you're like, wow, this has been a phenomenal flick. We've got werewolves. We've got vampires. Maybe we've got ghost stories. We've got some stalker slasher attack. Zombies. It's all checking all the boxes.
Yeah, 100%.
But one thing is being left unchecked. Who in the hell is this little observer who is now also at the bonfire watching this whole thing happen?
Yes, yet again, he's a viewer. He's watching everything happen, just like taking notes. Like, very well done, very well done.
Very well done. I appreciate what's happening.
Okay, I appreciate what's happening. Yeah, perfect. This is my night.
He's almost like if he were to agree with it, he would. He'd be. Yeah, I like it.
You give an Orange Cassidy thumbs up.
But his thumbs are actually candy corns.
So what is Sam capable of? What can he add to this? He's just been an observer this whole time, as far as we know.
You have to pay off the fans at this point, which is why this movie is a masterpiece, because it's like, we've strung you along. You probably have seen other things where maybe Sam's character is depicted in one way to where you're thinking, oh, he's just going to be the observer who's not really there all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, we're not going to get any true resolution with this character. And Michael Dougherty said, nah, thank y'all so much for sticking with it. I'm going to pay off what this being has been throughout the whole thing. So we did see Sam take the candy. We see him observing. He's been everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's finally time to find his way to the finale, essentially. Earlier, when Steven was digging a hole for Charlie, we see a neighbor, who is that voice I've been doing, by Mr. Krieg. And if you've watched the movie, you're like, yeah, I kind of know that name. But anyway, I'm not really going to, maybe I misheard. Who's the neighbor? Who's this old man played by Brian Cox. Masterfully played by Brian Cox, let me add.
Real quick, at this time about Brian Cox, I remember him showing up in every single movie, every mainstream movie that I was watching, like X-Men 2 and
Is this Super Troopers as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything was during this time. I was like, he's in every freaking movie. I'm like, who is this guy? And then you go back and you realize he's been around forever. He's in Rob Roy. Like, he was like early
Rob
90s.
Roy.
Yes. So, I mean, he's been around, but for some reason, he just hit this stream of like mainstream movies constantly coming out. So there he is yet again. Great actor playing something else, like fun for us as fans.
He's playing. We get introduced to him right away because the trick-or-treaters are still doing their night's work, which I always want to know real quick. When is the time that is acceptable to stop trick-or-treating? What is the time I could turn the... If a house has turned the porch light off, don't go, right? They are telling you we're done.
Yeah, but...
Okay, how about this, Lance? What was the latest you've knocked on a door?
It depends on where you are. Like, I was very hopeful, I think, like when I was a kid, like 10:30 at night, and they still had their lights on and all their decorations and webs and everything. Nobody answered. Somebody was home, but nobody answered.
Oof, I do remember vividly. The night's done. We're out of candy. We've turned off all the lights. We don't really have that many decorations anyway that were lit. And I'll never forget it. We're in the living room. The only thing that's on is the TV because we're kind of watching like scary movies. It's me and my mom. Yeah. And the doorbell rings. And my mom's like, don't. We don't have anything. Don't go over there. You know, it's just like, it's weird things like that. And honestly, I don't put a gun in my head. I won't be able to tell you what time of the day, of the night it was.
Right.
But I think we may at one point or another have had people trying to drive by and knock on doors like after midnight. And I'm like, that's aggressive. That's too much. But they're kids and they're out and it's dark. And we're back to the movie. Well, they go to a house and they knock on the door and the door opens and you just see blackness, the absence of light, just in the doorway. And then two green eyes open. Ooh, two girls with green eyes? Two green eyes are in the door making growling noises, and their kids are scared to death. They run off, and we see that it's just a little baby puppy.
It's just my baby dog.
A little puppy. It didn't do nothing wrong. But it's a puppy with like a costume on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it's shown that Mr. Krieg, played by Brian Cox, that's his dog, who is trained it to ward off these, because he doesn't want to be giving out candy. He's just like, get off my lawn, sort of old crotchety man.
Yes.
Crotchety?
The house is dilapidated, but not only did the dog scare off the kids drop the candy, and he rakes it all in for himself.
I love that. I love that tidbit of the movie because it's so much fun. You're like, this vile person is probably like, I hate candy, and I hate you, and I hate everyone. But he takes the candy, takes it inside, and even gets some to try himself.
He smiles. He like, got him. Like, he's still partaking in Halloween. He like laid a trick down with his dog dressed up in a costume and scared the kids off. Got his own candy, didn't hand out candy. That is against the rules.
You got to have candy.
You got to give it out. Trick or treat, smell my feet. Give me something good to eat.
If you don't, I don't care. You can sniff my underwear.
Ooh. Yeah. Wow. You just took me back to being 8 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he heads back with his haul.
Yeah.
To his
haul that he punched a hole in the hole.
I could be Mr. Krieg in my future.
You think?
If something happens to my wife, she leaves me or something like that, I could 100% be Mr. Krieg, just watching some sort of movies with my dog in my pajamas forever. Anyway,
here's the cool thing is that like, as he's like, going through the candy, he's like, I'm going to sit on my little couch and watch the TV. It's the freaking infomercial from the Set It and Forget It.
Is it?
Yes. Oh my God, it is. Dude. And and I'm just like, what? It's funny. It's weird. It's funny and it's weird because he's like getting the candy out and it's cutting back and forth between what he's doing and what's on the TV. And I want to watch the fucking infomercial so bad. He's got the flavor injector and this is just a normal pork loin. I'm going to get the points through it. I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to set it and...
I'm not a crook.
Forget it. He says it. And Lance forgot it.
I forgot the entire infomercial thing. Like I just watched the film, but I'm just remembering that he has a friend.
We'll just talk about that infomercial obviously did very well because I'm over here like, I fucking remember the infomercial. He makes that pork loin look so good. But he's looking through the candy, Mr. Krieg is, right? And he takes a bite of a... I think
it's a fake candy bar. Like
it's not name brand, obviously.
Yeah, it's an off brand.
He takes a bite of it. He hates it. Then he gets himself. He's like, get this out of my mouth. Let me take a little swig of my whiskey, which he does. I think it's whiskey.
It looks like it.
Yeah, he takes a swig of his whiskey. He's like, you could tell. You're like, all right, you're setting the table. This is the type of guy we're dealing with. Just washes old crap ass candy down with whiskey.
Again, I could be him eventually.
But something starts to happen.
He's got a friend with him. He's got an intruder, possibly.
Starts hearing noises, starts hearing like real rustles, and eventually, folks, he finds out that he's not alone. Not just Rex, Spike. Spike, his dog, is barking and like definitely like sees that something's up, and finds out that he is being visited by none other than our poster boy for the entire movie, Sam himself. And Sam is now saying, I'm going to kick your mother flippin' ass, sir. And he does. This is actually my favorite one of the entire movie, this story, because it is so well done with the fight. The fight is so much fun. Sam gets the upper hand. Mr. Krieg gets the upper hand. At one point, he's got a shotgun. Shoots Sam. Well, first of all, rips the burlap sack off of Sam.
Yeah, we actually see Sam's actual face, and it's a little bizarre. I was actually like kind of turned off by Sam's face originally. It just wasn't, the mysterious burlap. I am a fan of the burlap sacked creations of the world, but once you take it off and you see this kind of like pumpkin faced little kid, I guess. It was a turnoff a little bit.
I'm gonna
at
die.
first.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna die on this hill, Lance.
Okay, here's the hill.
I applaud Michael Dougherty so damn much because he made a stand. He took a stand. So many times we watch horror movies, ghost movies, possession movies, and there's always a logical explanation for it. There's always like, it actually was never a demon. It was, the traumatized soul of somebody who was, whatever the case may be. The Conjuring did it. A lot of other movies have done it where you're like, oh, what do you think? I think it's a demon. I think it's a ghost. I think it's something otherworldly. But once they take that mask off, it's going to be, whatever. It's going to be a bunch of cockroaches that just like, or it's the embodiment of guilt. Whatever bullshit. When they take the mask off of Sam, it doubled down. He's like, not only is this not a normal looking thing, it is not a thing. It is not a person. It is a creature. So I absolutely love that about this movie. It not only because Sam with the mask and the burlap sack on, great look. Sam without the mask, a look. It's a look. But what it shows us is that he says, I'm going to make an entire creature for this film. And I absolutely love that you paid off the audience who stuck with you through this whole, and it's not like it was like the rest, the movie up to this point has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
You paid them off by saying the thing that you think has been wearing a burlap sack as a novelty, it's actually a necessity that he wears his burlap sack because he has to hide what he looks like. And we see Sam, he's like, as Lance put it, he's like this like pumpkin creature kid who, that his head is like a upside down jack-o'-lantern. Well, no, just a jack-o'-lantern because his eyes are where his eyes are. He's got, and his mouth is like elongated. It's like he's smiling at me, but he also makes like these were like noises. Awesome fight ensues, but I absolutely want to die on that hill. Filmmakers, you say it's a ghost, make it a ghost. You say it's a demon, make it a demon. Just pay the audience off. Don't give us this logical explanations like it's actually, guilt or regret manifested into a collection of energy. Blah, boring. That's my hill.
That is the hill he'll die on. Again, I said it originally turned me off. At that time, I was not into a lot of the creature features. I was not into. Now I love it because they even triple down on it because Mr. Krieg actually shoots him with the shotgun. And what comes out of him? Not blood, not gore. It's pumpkin guts and seeds. So a double down. This is the essence of the Halloween as you know it. We have not mentioned this yet, but Rhonda talked about Samhain. Sam's name comes from the spelling of Samhain, which is Samheain. I think there's two versions of it, but yes.
Well, it's like the one that Michael posts on Halloween 2 on the chalkboard.
Yes. So that is where Sam's name actually comes from. The concept of Sam comes from Michael Dougherty in college. Made an animated short called Season's Greetings. And it's basically an animated version of Sam trick-or-treating past the time that we talked about. Actually, we were just talking about this. What is too late to trick-or-treat? Well, Sam found it. Gets beat up, gets attacked in an alley, and he ends up sacking the guy that beat him up and carries him away. That's his haul for the night. So that's where Sam comes from. He is the embodiment of Halloween, and that is why we all consider him on the level of Michael Myers and the Halloween franchise now. This is a must-watch. Back to Mr. Krieg.
So Mr. Krieg shoots Sam, gets the pumpkin guts out, fights him off, and then Sam is not dead, of course, because he's got some Jason DNA. Gets the lollipop that Lance has as his, method of destruction, his killing device. Takes a stab at Mr. Krieg. Mr. Krieg is making the noise like ah! And then when he does stab, very conveniently placed, is that original candy that Mr. Krieg did not like. It actually saved his life because it was in between him and the lollipop knife. And Sam pulls away. Has the lollipop on his, the candy on his lollipop, and he almost does a, all right, you survive. And he just takes off.
Yeah. Well, you gave me candy. So, I mean, one of the things during the fight is, this is an iconic scene, so we got to talk about it really quick, is up in Mr. Krieg's room, there's a pumpkin that's been carved, and it blows up, and it's just fire coming out of it. It's not just a lit pumpkin. Like, the fire is blasting out of it, and it lights up the room where Sam has decorated, saying, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. And what's the rest of it?
If you don't, I don't care. You can sniff my underwear.
Maybe that's what it says. Anyway, it's graffitied across the walls. That was the rule that Mr. Krieg had broken. He was not giving out candy, so he must be punished for it. But Sam ends up finding candy on Mr. Krieg, so he's happy. The rules are not broken.
Yeah, everything is all.
I'll leave you alone, man.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Sam obviously has otherworldly powers because he flings the door open without touching it. He just walks away, and it's so cute. I'm sorry, but Sam walking away is like a fucking adorable.
It is every single time because it happens quite a few times.
So the movie continues for a little bit longer, and it's basically the culmination. You're seeing that folks are going up. Kids are going up to trick or treat at Mr. Krieg's. He's got bandages. He's got his arm in a sling, and he is giving out candy. And the kids are being very sweet as he's giving them out. And the last girl that is getting candy from him says, "Thank you, Mr. Krieg. Great mummy costume," because he's all wrapped up in bandages. So, like, you think, okay, he's learned his lesson.
Right.
He's going to give out candy and continue the tradition. Closes the door. Doorbell rings.
Well, and I have to give out candy. That's the rules. I've learned my lesson.
Opens the door.
Open the door.
All the kids from the quarry are there, resurrected from the dead, because, folks, the grand tie-in that you may not have caught, Mr. Krieg was the bus driver. What?
Yeah.
The bus driver from it all who tried to kill the kids but survived. They came to claim him as their final victim, or basically right all the wrongs. And trick or treat is done.
There's so many little nuances we got to talk about really quick before we wrap up. Little ones. So at the end of this, it actually wraps up and we see Emma and Henry coming home.
Oh, that's right.
We see Rhonda pulling the wagon. So now we're going back to the beginning, which is actually the end of the movie. We see everything wrapping up. We see poor little Billy, and his dad is not coming home. But one thing we did not mention was that Steven had said his dad taught him the traditions of trick or treat, right, and Halloween. So he taught that to his son. They ended up carving a jack-o'-lantern that was actually a human head, and it was the kid's head. Nuance: when they walk down to the basement, I have not mentioned this. I only noticed it this last time that I watched it, which is probably the 15,000th time that I've seen it. There's a bunch of Halloween masks.
Oh yeah,
on the wall that they walk. It's the first thing that you see when they walk down into the basement, and I was like, oh right, because he's killed a bunch of trick or treaters, and now he's teaching his child how to do that. His son is wearing his dad's shirt. Oh God. This to me is what is the setup for the next 4 stories in Trick or Treat. It's Billy, it's Rhonda, maybe it's Henry if you want. And those two, especially Billy and Rhonda, have to come back if there ever is a Trick or Treat. Unfortunately, Michael Dougherty blew up. And is making huge movies now.
Dude's doing Godzillas. Dude's, doing it all.
This is not our first Michael Dougherty movie, actually. We did Krampus last December?
Yeah.
2 Decembers ago. And that was like his last, that was like him peeling it back to be like, I'm going to make another horror movie. It's not Trick or Treat, sorry, but it's still a fun horror film.
Yeah.
Holiday horror film. Man, there's so much that we still didn't even touch.
I felt like we tackled a lot of this movie. Obviously, this was going to be one that was going to be talked about a lot. Weigh in, obviously, folks, with all of your reactions to the flick, if you like it or not. This one isn't as polarizing. I believe that a lot of people who have seen this movie do find it very much an encapsulation of what we love about the holiday. They do love this sort of and has accepted it. We're talking about 2007. We're talking about recent-ish, right? accepted into the pantheon of horror slasher icons or horror icons. So whenever you see these memes or these like artistic drawings of like all these like icons from horror, Sam is always there.
Yeah.
He's always there. One of my favorite memes that I've ever seen is it's Sam and Michael Myers walking down a neighborhood, and they're holding hands, and Sam's got a full bag of candy, and Michael in a little talk bubble says, "Nice haul tonight, buddy." And it's just like,
Yeah.
it's like passing of the torch.
It's
sort
an
of thing.
appreciation. You know,
It
it's
is.
not a like we're against each other thing. It's like a you did good and we're a part of it. It's a perfect meme because it is exactly what we just said. Like he is the embodiment of Halloween. He is on par with the Halloween movie franchise for me. Just a great movie. Is it scary? It has scary moments.
It has its moments.
It has a new kind of cheese to it. It's not like an 80s cheese. It's not in that direction. There's fun. I say fun a lot on here, but all these interwoven stories are incredible. And it just so nicely comes together. I think a lot of these too, I think if I remember correctly, Brian Cox was actually brought in later, and that whole part of the movie was done at a later date away from the other parts of the movie. So it's just like you have amazing actors, you have amazing film altogether. I cannot recommend it enough, even though it might not be the scary meter totally. It's still there.
I think what's so great about this movie is that there's an aspect of a horror movie there's one type of horror movie in each little story that is told, but everything said and everything done feels intentional.
Yes.
So it all is, nothing's by mistake, which I appreciate the most out of all this.
Me too. It's blended together so beautifully. Even when we technically start at the end, we go to the end of the movie and come back, and it's actually, it's just the beginning and the end and everything. Everything is tied in so beautifully. Man, what a movie.
I had an absolute blast watching this recently again. It makes me happy. It makes me FOMO for sure, because I want to be in that little town. Obviously not getting dead, but I wouldn't, because I'd be all about the traditions anyway. So it really doesn't matter if I was at that town or not, because I wouldn't get dead.
Get dead. So many times.
I know. Yeah, that's actually a quote from Speed. But anyway,
Get dead.
thanks for not getting dead. Anyway,
Okay, Danny. You got anything else?
no. I agree with you. I think that this movie is a lot of fun. There is some ick to it, but yes. The score. I got to talk about the score real quick. I obviously have it on vinyl. It's got some strings. You got to bring in the strings, bring in the horns. It's a quote from Pure Country. Jesus. The score is really cool. It has an iconic like theme to the original, or sorry, to the opening. It would be like, hey, what's the trick or treat theme? Because the Friday theme, the Halloween theme, Nightmare theme,
yeah.
and this one's like ring ding ring ding,
Yeah.
ring ding ring. It's good. It's good. So that it's a great vinyl listen. That I think all classics need to fire off of all cylinders. Is the poster does it grab you? Yes. Is the freaking movie good? One. And then two, does the music and score accompany it and help it to be as good as it is? So I think that the score is phenomenal.
Checks all the boxes. Danny, how many pumpkin lollipops do you give Trick or Treats?
I give Trick or Treat a fanboy 5 pumpkin lollipops. 5.
I give it 5 as well. It is a must watch every single October. Like I said, I've said it several times. It is on the level of Halloween for this time of the year. I gotta watch it. So until next time, remember to
Lock your doors.
Bolt your windows.
And trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat.
And join us next time in our Slasher's Paradise.
Shall we, Lance? Hey, did you see anything you like?
Thanks for watching Slasher's Paradise tonight. Please hit the like and subscribe button and turn on all of your notifications so you know the next time we post a video or go live.
And if you'd like an audio-only version of the show, search for us on wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it. We're on all the platforms. We just ask that you leave a rate and review of 5 stars. And if you don't know what to write in the review section, put a recommendation of a horror movie you would love for Lance and I to talk about.
Yes, and if you'd like to get the full experience of Slasher's Paradise, including videos and audio all together, go to deadcandy.com, that's DEDCANDY, or go to youtube.com/deadcandy. Here's to you guys.
This is Slasher's Paradise! Sorry, I had to work that in.
And I'm going to drink on that.
Blended Canadian.